Herzlich willkommen an diesem sehr schönen 29.07.2025 zum Dienstagstream. Heute mit einem neuen Spiel. Ein Spiel, was selber nicht neu ist, sondern schon ein paar Jahre auf dem Buckel hat und auch schon reihenweise durch die Gaming-Landschaft gewandert ist. Ähm, ja, The Stanley Parable. Das kennen wahrscheinlich einige von euch schon. Ich selber kenne es nur vom Namen her, auch so ein bisschen Gameplay-Material, aber immer sehr kurz, immer sehr wenig. Als es damals frisch rauskam, ist aber auch schon wieder zig Jahre her. Ich selber habe es nie gespielt, wirklich. Nicht wirklich, ich habe eigentlich noch nie wirklich, also nie gespielt. Und ja, ich bin gespannt, was mich heute bei dem Spiel so erwartet. Das ist das Dienstagsspiel jetzt, bis wir es durchgespielt haben. Donnerstag geht weiter mit Dragon Age The Veilguard, aber Dienstag ist erstmal The Stanley Parable dran. Ich teile wie immer einmal den Twitch-Link und dann geht es auch gleich schon sofort los mit dem Spiel. Ich hoffe, es geht soweit allen ganz gut und ich hoffe, dass es hier vielleicht ohne Probleme vonstatten gehen wird. Da, 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 da. Gucken wir einmal. Mm, mm. Da haben wir es schon. Und dann teilen wir immer auf Blue Sky. Wie immer. Ja, machen wir teilen. Ich würde teilen, danke. So, Link teilen. Und dann hoffe ich, dass es hier sehr schön ohne Probleme gleich passieren wird. Sehr schön. So, das war's. So, ich habe schon soweit es geht alle Einstellungen vorgenommen, soweit wie es ging. Helligkeit, Sprache und auch die Uhrzeit musste ich sogar angeben, was ich sehr interessant finde. Also ich weiß wirklich von nichts. Leute, seht es mir nach, wenn ich so ein bisschen experimentierfreudig bin bei dem Spiel, aber ich möchte auch nicht so viel weiter darüber reden, sondern das Spiel jetzt auch einfach mal starten.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Das wäre ein
Never in
wundervoller Tag
all
für
his
mich.
years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Mache ich auch gleich. Das erinnert mich gerade so ein bisschen an, was viele nicht wissen, ähm, Content Creator, das mache ich nur hobbymäßig, Streaming, YouTube, alles nur Hobby. Deswegen passiert auch alles unregelmäßig, deswegen ist es auch nicht so High-End oder High-Class professionell, wie es man von einem Hand of Blood, Jodarum, Papa Platte oder wie der Typ da heißt, Pete Smith oder Gnu, wie man es halt von denen kennt. Deswegen ist nur ein Hobby hier. Hauptberuflich bin ich Bürokaufmann. Ich setze meinen Hintern jeden Tag in einem Büro ab und gucke, dass ich die Zeit irgendwie totzuschlagen kriege. Und in der Corona-Zeit, Anfang der Corona-Zeit, ich teile mir mein Büro mit 5 weiteren Kollegen und Kolleginnen. Und in der Corona-Zeit war das so gewesen, dass es Tage gab, da war ich komplett alleine im Büro. So in der Woche waren es, glaube ich, 3 Tage. Ich bin morgens ins Büro gekommen, keiner da, und habe abends Feierabend gemacht und war halt keiner gekommen, weil das so angeordnet wurde, damit wir gut durch die Corona-Pandemie kommen würden. Und das war angenehm, aber auch irgendwie komisch, dass man halt morgens im Dunkeln ins Büro kommt, Licht anmacht überall und keiner ist da und dann ist man halt den ganzen Tag da alleine, macht seinen Job natürlich und geht dann halt irgendwann so nach 8, 9 Stunden. Das hat mir aber gefallen, wie gesagt, weil ich mochte diese Ruhe, dass ich mich wirklich auf die Arbeit fokussieren konnte, das hatte was. Das hatte was. Umso mehr stört es mich jetzt, dass meine Kollegen alle da sind. Aber gut, machen wir mal weiter. Kann ich drücken, okay. Okay, hocke. Kann ich mich verstecken? Nein. Mein Handy vibriert. Schreibt mir wer? Na gut.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ja, man muss wenigstens den Bildschirm ausmachen, ne? Oder den Monitor.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Das Ding ist aber noch eingeschaltet, ne? Nervt mich so ein bisschen. Egal. Wir wollen zum Meeting Room. Ah. Strom sparen, Leute.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office, because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Na, gut gefuttert. Komm mal her. Muss nicht, wenn du nicht möchtest. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ja, ich weiß nicht, ne? Könnte ich machen. Aber ich mach das mal. Das Ding ist an. Ich will den Computer ausmachen.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Mhm. Ja, weiß ich nicht, ne? Okay, wir Licht anmachen. Na, Maurice. Schön, dass du es geschafft hast. Aber du weißt, du musst nicht hier sein, ne? Denk lieber an deine Schlafenszeit. Charts and Slides, Slides, Charts. Na gut.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ja, Kater.
There was nothing here. No choice to make. No path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Mach dir auf der Couch bequem. Du brauchst mir die ganze Zeit hier anmiauzen. Was ist das denn? Ist das hier die... Wollte ich gerade sagen, Executive Bathroom. Da gehen die Chefs kacken. Immer mit einer tollen... Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. Aha. Was liest du denn hier? Die Time, Extreme Bathrooms. Was sind denn extreme Badezimmer? Ja, mit Aussicht, ne? Mit Aussicht. Naja. Die beigen Seiten. Du musst das Büro vom Chef sein.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Na, Kieran, alles gut bei dir?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Ja, 2, 8. So.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Das weiß ich doch, Kira. Und ich freue mich auch, dass du da bist. Genauso wie freue ich mich darüber, dass Maurice da ist. Geht es dir denn gut, Kiran? Ich sehe keinen Boden. Ist da ein Fahrstuhl jetzt gerade?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Das ist ein Geräusch. Ja, ist wahrscheinlich, ja.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ich glaube mal, Kiran, so wellenartig würdest du dich damit abfinden und verrückt werden. Also dass du immer so zwischendurch so, ja, ich kann es eh nicht ändern, also finde ich mich damit ab, finde es irgendwie lustig und dann ist man schon irgendwie kurz davor, vor dem Zug zu springen oder sowas. Mein Gedanke, Maurice, mein Gedanke, ich dachte auch an Cerebro. Dachte ich auch sofort. War mein Gedanke, Junge. Ich würde schon sagen, wo ist der Helm, damit ich die Mutanten auch spüren kann.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Feiert. Was meinst du mit Pfeifen, Kiran? War ich nicht 475? Ich meine, ich war angestellte 475, ne? Ja, da vorne. Ja, Kiran, hast du recht.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
Stimmt, ja,
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Mhm. Ja, die Kugel der Verwirrung, ja. Die aber, ich meine, sie ist effektiv, aber nicht in die Richtung, wie man es vielleicht erwarten würde. Also hier ist definitiv zu, also da geht es nicht hoch. Ist aber auch, ja, da ist zu. Ist aber auch scheiße dunkel hier, ey. Mhm. Fünf, okay. Und da ist dann 3 und 4. Gibt es eine bestimmte Reihenfolge? Wo ist denn 4? Gibt es eine Reihenfolge, die ich übersehen habe? Das ist doch gar nicht so schwierig, Kiran. Erwischt dich halt das Gesicht. Ich gehe mal in die Facility Power. Vielleicht geht's ja da weiter.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Du weißt aber trotzdem, was dein Gesicht ist. Oder wo dein Gesicht anfängt und wo es aufhört. Dein Gesicht endet ja nicht zwangsläufig da, wo die Haare anfangen. Ne? Also dein Gesicht ist ja... Du hast ja noch eine Stirn zwischen all dem Ganzen. Also von daher...
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Das war der erste Run. Beende das Spiel. So, und jetzt... Ja. Okay, dann geht's mal weiter.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh. Ne, also, es geht ja noch weiter, Maurice. Also man hat ja nicht sofort...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Ich habe erstmal nur das gemacht. Ja, also ich habe jetzt mal das gemacht, was der Typ sagte, und dann mache ich jetzt mal die Sachen, die dagegen gehen, was er so sagt.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Okay.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Yes.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Das ist meine das Video
Welcome
gewesen.
back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Maurice, kannst du bitte Kieran einmal den Sachverhalt bezüglich Batman einmal erklären? Ach so. Wieder Anspielung, Kieran. Du bist da, du machst da gerne mal nur Anspielungen.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Ja, okay. Also, müsst ihr mal sagen, welche Staffel, welche Folge war. Ich habe nur bis Staffel 7 geguckt, dann fand ich es nicht mehr so gut. Also ich fand, bis Staffel 3 ist schon nicht mehr so gut. Habe aber trotzdem noch weiter geguckt, bis Staffel 7. Wenn es in den späteren Staffeln vorkommt, dann nee, dann habe ich da keinen Bock drauf mehr anzuschauen. Maurice, kannst du bitte einmal für Kiran einmal auf meinen YouTube-Kanal gehen, meine First Try-Reihe von Elden Ring und dann den Kampf von Huralu und dann, ich weiß nicht, ob du den Link hier reinpacken kannst, du bist Moderator und ich weiß nicht, ob ich das zugelassen habe, aber versuch's vielleicht einfach mal, dass du Kiran vielleicht hier einmal sonst den Link schickst, ansonsten musst du es leider über WhatsApp machen, weil da zeige ich echt ganz gut, wie ich ihn als Magier platt gemacht habe. Den Huralu. Danke dir.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Okay. Okay, es verändert sich jetzt mal nichts mehr. Ich werde vielleicht noch was verändern. Ja, er bekommt Freundschaft und Aufmerksamkeit von mir. Und das ist viel wert, Kira, merkt ihr das?
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. With you, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are.
My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Moment. Äh, 132. 132 ist das.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Okay, jetzt gehe ich in die linke.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That
Oder
means
noch einmal.
choosing
Einmal mache ich
responsibly
noch.
and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Weil alle guten Dinge sind 3.
No! Why did you do that?
Ja, gut, jetzt gehe ich wirklich links.
Hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vorhin hatte ich runtergekommen, jetzt ging es gar nicht runter. Oh, das hat sich alles verändert.
Inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
So. Was ist das denn für Bilder? Business Strategy.
Stanley spoke the code.
Ja, ja. Nightshark 1115.
He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Night Shark 115. Ja, nix. Night Shark 115.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, He imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Anscheinend ja nicht.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Upp. Stell diese Frage, Kieran.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Das denke ich mir auch jedes Mal, wenn da ein Verrückter auf dem Boden liegt. Ich bin froh, normal zu sein.
Made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Da stellst du Fragen, Kieran. Gute Frage. Ist auch schon über ein Jahr her, muss ich gestehen. Aber tatsächlich ist es einer der früheren Stäbe. Ich weiß nicht mehr genau, welcher Stab das ist. Tatsächlich habe ich nicht nur davon profitiert, dass ich ordentlich gelevelt habe. Da war quasi so ein bisschen die Geduld und auch die Ausdauer mit dabei. Ich habe 3 Stunden Seelen gefarmt oder Runen gefarmt und habe mich da auf ein echt hohes Level gebracht. Ähm, ich glaube, das war es am Ende gewesen. Ich glaube, irgendwie, glaube ich, an die 21 Millionen Runen habe ich am Ende gefarmt und dann habe ich das alles ins Leveling investiert. Ähm, dachte, vielleicht ziehst du so ein bisschen, ich weiß nicht, so ein bisschen, vielleicht so ein Inspiration aus dem Video, dachte ich, dass dir das vielleicht irgendwie weiterhilft. Aber ja, er ist halt echt mega, mega, mega schnell. Das stimmt schon. Und Kiran, welches Spiel mit den Jumpscares meinst du denn? Das lese ich gerade erst jetzt. Sag bitte mal, welches Spiel mit den Jumpscares du meinst.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So, wir gehen jetzt zum
Yet there was not
Bossraum
a single person here either.
und dann
Feeling a wave
anschließend
of
gehen wir zum
disbelief,
Escape.
Stanley decided to
Bereich.
go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Ja, das ist wirklich beruhigende New Age Musik. Also bisher ist das Spiel echt zum Feiern, ey.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Also,
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley
so
still
ein
had every
endless
opportunity to
corridor,
turn
oder was
around
ist
and
das
get
hier?
back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oder auch nicht, ne?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Schöne Bilder. Ihr seid so still, ihr beiden. Seid ihr noch da? Maurice, Kiran? Existiert ihr noch? Oder bin ich alleine? Ja, schön Solitär spielen, ne? Habe ich auch früher gemacht. Mhm. Ah, okay. Ich habe mich schon gefragt, was los ist. Chefbüro. Mhm. Wartungsraum. Schlachtfeld. Es gibt ein Schlachtfeld. Schon früh in der Entwicklung haben wir ein Ende entworfen, bei dem Stanley auf einem Schlachtfeld landet und gegen Aliens kämpft. Das Actionspiel sollte empfindungsfähig werden und Krieg gegen den Erzähler führen. Kurz nachdem wir mit der Entwicklung begonnen hatten, merken wir, dass das viel zu witzig und zu kurz gedacht war für den Charakter des Spiels. Außerdem wurde es von manchen Leuten so interpretiert, dass das Spiel sich über Leute lustig macht, die Ego-Shooter mögen, was nicht unsere Absicht war. Ein neues Jumpscare-Spiel, okay. From James Irvine. Subject, how is the game? Oh, are you a rock? Nee. What is a strange number? Could you tell me what the significance of the number 1112800 is? Mhm. Die Lounge. Ja, aber dann, wenn du das Spiel gespielt hast, weißt du den Namen nicht mehr? Du hast es doch, wenn es neu ist, du hast es doch erst vor kurzem gespielt. Wie kannst du denn schon den Namen schon wieder vergessen haben, Kiran? Sag es mir, wie ist der Name? Das Pausenmenü. Kann nichts ziehen, nichts drehen. Okay, also da ist wieder der große Raum, ja. Mind Control.
Then he pushed the number 4.
Now look closely, Stanley.
See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room.
Perfect example of poor level design.
textbook. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively.
Das kann natürlich sein, Kira.
For all his button pushing. But of course, you being you,
Und natürlich,
you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you.
Das fast so aus, ne? Aber Kira, jetzt mal ernsthaft. Maurice und ich machen uns schon Sorgen, weil du hast das Spiel vor kurzem erst gespielt und hast jetzt schon den Namen nicht mehr auf dem Schirm. Aus der Richtung kam ich vorhin, meine ich, ne? Nee. Ach doch, hier. Hier war ich, genau. Da hinten ist das mit den E-Mails, richtig. Hier geht's weiter hoch, beziehungsweise runter. Und da bin ich jetzt hier bei dem Raum wieder, genau. Da ist der Ausgang. Ich möchte mich hier noch weiter, also, genau. Okay. Im Grunde gibt es hier nicht mehr viel zu schauen. Ey, Kira, alles gut. Die Sorgen habe ich manchmal auch bei Maurice, dass die Dämpfe ihm nicht sonderlich gut tun und die er da einatmen muss. Okay, ich glaube, jetzt ist ja wirklich nicht mehr viel zu holen, nicht mehr viel zu machen. Genau, das war jetzt wirklich hier alles. Boah, Fischgeruch, ja. Ich weiß ganz genau, was du meinst, Maurice. Furchtbar. Da weiß ich ganz genau, was du meinst. Okay, ich gehe zum Ausgang.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Wo bin ich denn? I hate Mondays. Aha. Ja, ich bin das wie der World's Greatest irgendwas. Ja, das stimmt allerdings, Maurice, das stimmt allerdings. Okay, das ist neu. Input received, ja.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Wolltest das Telefonat jetzt einmal annehmen?
Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Jetzt würde ich mal das Telefonat annehmen. Und danach mache ich den Weg hier.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
Das weißt du aber auch nur, Kieran, weil du den Patienten zwischendurch mal ein Tröpfchen Meister Propper gibst, ne?
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Schön mit den Tabletten.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been
Mach Licht an.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Du alter Fuchs, ey.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ja.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Richtig.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Ich versuchte auszutricksen, aber macht er leider nicht mit. Schade.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Ist das ungefähr die Größe deiner Wohnung, Maurice? Was denn, Kieran?
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Macht dich schon ziemlich an, oder, Kieran?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing's changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
Alarm!
Well,
Alarm!
Maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Ich habe nichts gedrückt. Ich habe nichts gedrückt.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Und jetzt ist er aus. Der war vorhin, also vorhin war er jedes Mal an, habe ich ihn ausgemacht und vorhin war Output und dann habe ich gedrückt, weil ich dachte, dann geht er aus, dann war Input received und jetzt ist er aus. Ah. Oder war der... Egal, ich weiß es nicht.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Cool. Neuer Content. Ohne was dafür bezahlen zu müssen, Leute. Ich mach mal langsam hier mal Licht an, weil es noch relativ hell ist, was ich schade finde, dass ich, obwohl es noch relativ hell ist, noch Licht anmachen muss, aber man sieht mich leider kaum. Das ist natürlich nicht so schön, wenn ich die Kamera dabei
and
habe.
thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Ja.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Or, oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Eine gemeinsame neue Reise für uns beide.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, oh, okay, Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right.
Circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Genau, Maurice, Ultra Deluxe. Ich darf nicht mehr springen in dem Ich habe meine ganzen Sprünge aufgebraucht.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Schön, dass du da bist.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Schön, dass man echt sich immer wieder zwischendurch verändert.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the
Pressurized gas für Steam? Nicht schlecht! Nicht schlecht! Pressurized gas. Das ist echt, das haben die clever gemacht, das muss man denen echt lassen, ja. Memory, sweet memory. Don't forget, ja. Also das ist ein guter Witz, das ist echt ein geiler Witz, ey. Ich hab mich schon gewundert. Ja, okay, es ist halt Steam, aber was steht denn da? Also, was soll das sein? Aber klar, können die Steam da hinschreiben. Oder wollten es halt nicht machen, sondern lieber einen Gag. Was war das denn? Das ist aber ein The Last of Us? Das war für Last of Us gewesen? Nicht für Stanley Parable. Da steht da, The Last of Us, in der Kategorie Story. Nicht schlecht. Ja, Lachs of Us, kann man auch fast so sagen. Oh, First Kiss, My First Car, The Release of the Stanley Parable. Nicht schlecht. Game Innovation, Debütgame, Story, Die, die Entwickler sind überraschenderweise bodenständig geblieben, okay. Nicht schlecht, ja. Ach ja, die Frau, die sagte, als sie Stanley da tot auf dem Boden liegen sah, dass er verrückt ist, aber sie ist froh, normal zu sein. Schon relativ friedlich hier. Können wir ihn mal da hinsetzen?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Also ich kenne da auch ein paar spezielle Fälle, Rini. Aber ich glaube, in dem Fall war die Frau wahrscheinlich froh, normaler als Stanley zu sein. Person of the Year und kein Schwein weiß, wie er eigentlich aussieht. Ich glaube, Kiran ist nicht mehr da. Und der Humor ist echt super. Also mir gefällt's. Erinnert mich so ein bisschen an Jazzpunk. Was auch so komplett Meta und Force Wall war, das fand ich auch richtig gut. People play games because of what they can do inside them. And your game is very good and letting them know they can do anything. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
9 out
it
of
didn't
10,
need
eh?
anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Ja, ich komme mir nicht durch, Leute, wenn es hier weitergeht. The Serious Room, okay. So, Serious Room. So, hallo, geht die Tür hier irgendwie auf? Links da unten jetzt weiter? Ach so, okay.
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Was ist denn dein Lieblingsgetränk, Kiran? Was trinkst du denn so gerne? Also ich trinke, das hört sich jetzt mega langweilig an, aber ich trinke tatsächlich sehr gerne einfach nur Wasser. Gänsewein. Fassbrause. Also ich bin tatsächlich eher, also ich habe mich zum Wassertrinker einfach nur entwickelt im Laufe der Jahre. So Softdrinks und so. Ach so, okay. Ja, Sprudelwasser ist auch geil. Also ich trinke eh ganz gerne Wasser mit Kohlensäure. Aber zu Hause trinke ich eigentlich nur Kraneberger. Also Leitungswasser. Mehr trinke ich da eigentlich gar nicht. Sowas wie habe ich dir auch schon mal geschrieben, Rini, so Softdrinks und sowas, das trinke ich eigentlich gar nicht mehr. Wenn nur ab und an, wenn ich merke, da muss ich aber auch richtig Durst drauf haben, aber das kommt so gut wie kaum noch vor. Alkohol trinke ich gar keinen mehr. Ja, Kaffee trinke ich nicht. Kaffee wirst du von mir nicht kriegen.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't.
Dann werde ich dir Sprudelwasser besorgen, meine Schöne. Wenn das dir recht ist. Aber alles mit relativ wenig Kohlensäure, Maurice, wie ich ja weiß.
Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Cookie 9.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment.
Einmal probiert ist überhaupt nicht meins.
Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today.
Ich hab mal Rootbier probiert. Und das ist richtig ekelhaft. Das kriegen diese Ami-Bilger ja rauf und runter. Rootbier, das gab's mal bei Kaufland. Da hab ich mir mal eine Dose mal, nur das Probehalber mal gegönnt. Und das war, also das war so ekelhaft. Also das war so, keine Ahnung, Erde trinken würdest, so verflüssigte Erde.
And here it
also
is.
Root,
Go
halt
ahead and
Wurzel,
give it a
ne?
shot.
Also,
I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But
nee, überhaupt nicht. Aber ich kenn's.
The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stan. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them, collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself.
Okay. Stille? Das ist eigentlich nie was Gutes. Der Rauchmelder?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the...
Nee, Uhr hat auch irgendwann den Geist abgegeben.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the
Entschuldigung, Kira.
the end, is never the end, is never.
Schläft er zwischendurch oder warum ist er ab und an einfach still? Dachte ich mir, dass dann irgendwann das hier kaputt geht. Okay. Es wird immerhin zumindest idyllischer. Ui. Mhm. Oh, okay. Also die Uhr, wollte ich schon sagen, die Uhr ist schon auch nicht mehr. Hallo? Ja, so ungefähr, Maurice, genau. Okay, ich bin wieder in meinem gewohnten Bürokomplex.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good.
Okay.
You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Memo, ja.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Investor Showcase. The end is never the end again.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Sag ich dir gleich. Beziehungsweise da gibt es viel zu viele. Also ich habe ziemlich viele Bücher. Ich habe hauptsächlich eher so Fantasy-Literatur, aber ich habe auch, ich sage mal, Bücher der Zeitgeschichte, wie ich sie nennen will. Zum Beispiel habe ich 1984 bei mir. Ich habe die Farm der Tiere oder Farm der Tiere und noch ein paar andere Bücher, aber hauptsächlich halt wirklich Fantasy-Literatur. Und da kann ich mich tatsächlich gar nicht, gar nicht so sehr dafür entscheiden, worauf ich mich da spezialisieren würde. Und zwar, nein, sowas nicht, Kieran, sowas lese ich nicht. Das ist für mich noch unter Schundliteratur und ich bin ein Fan von Schundliteratur. Aber nein, sowas nicht. Tatsächlich würde ich doch so weit gehen zu sagen, entweder also ich würde schon die Scheibenweltromane von Terry Pratchett auf jeden Fall in meine Top 3 mit dazu nehmen. Dann würde ich noch Herr der Ringe ganz klar. Ja, aber du hast gesagt, du sollst dich deine Freunde, nenn dich deine Freunde, aber ich finde nicht, dass wir bisher ein rein freundschaftliches Verhältnis haben. Von daher. Jedenfalls ist es, also wie gesagt, in den Top 3 kommt auf jeden Fall die Scheibenweltromane von Terry Pratchett, die ich abgöttisch liebe. Dann Herr der Ringe auf jeden Fall, inklusive das Universum drumherum, der Hobbit, das Silmarillion, lieb von dir. Was will ich noch sagen? Ich habe hier, was ich auch mehrfach gelesen habe, Dark Blade Schlachten, das ist auch sehr gut. Was ich als Jugendlicher ziemlich gut fand, war die Uldad-Saga, aber die fand ich beim ersten Mal lesen echt gut. Beim zweiten Mal habe ich dann doch eklatante Schwächen in der Geschichte festgestellt. Man muss sich das so vorstellen, wenn man das Gefühl hat, dass die Nebenfiguren nur existieren, damit der Hauptfigur ständig gesagt wird, oder dem Hauptcharakter, ständig gesagt wird, wie klug er ist, wie toll er ist und dann macht das irgendwie keinen Spaß mehr. Irgendwie als Jugendlicher ist mir das nicht so aufgefallen. Ich fand das beim ersten Mal lesen als Jugendlicher schon so ein bisschen komisch, aber es hat mir Spaß gemacht. Ich fand die Story interessant genug von der Uldert-Saga, dass ich sage, hey, ich bin dabei, ich bin am Ball. Sind auch sechs Bücher, die mir alle echt viel Spaß gemacht haben. Nur dann dachte ich mir, keine Ahnung, wie alt ich da war, Anfang 20, ey, ich könnte die mal wieder lesen, habe ich mal wieder Bock drauf. Dann habe ich mir die gegriffen und ich weiß nicht, ob ich das erste Buch noch durch habe oder schon beim ersten Buch aufgehört habe. Aber beim zweiten Buch, meine ich, habe ich dann aufgehört, weil ich mir dachte, also irgendwie ist die Schreibweise nicht mehr so meins. Wo immer nur ständig alle Figuren nur dafür da sind, um den Hauptcharakter zu sagen, ey, du bist schlau, du bist toll, du machst das und so alles. Die waren für mich nicht komplex genug, die Figuren. Das fand ich halt ziemlich schade. Und was ist es bei dir, Kiran? Was sind deine Lieblingsbücher oder dein Lieblingsbuch? Und ja, wer Cat-Content haben möchte, mein Kater ist da hinten. Ah, ja, ich glaube, das hat es mir auch schon mal erzählt gehabt, Trini. Aber Stolz und Vorurteil ist auch super. Da war ich sogar im Kino damals gewesen, in dem, ich glaube, der ist mit Keira Knightley, der Film, nicht wahr? Aber ich sag mal so, ich war mit der Schulklasse damals gewesen im Kino. Ich fand den Film tatsächlich ziemlich gut, weil natürlich immer, ja, das Buch ist deutlich besser. Habe ich aber noch nicht gelesen, das Buch.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Aktuell lese ich zurzeit Farm der Tiere, weil da bin ich fast durch. Das ist auch wirklich kein dickes Buch. Das ist wirklich nur, wenn es hochkommt, so breit oder so dick. Also ich glaube, das sind nur irgendwie knapp 200 Seiten oder sowas. Das geht einigermaßen. Ja. Also ich versuche auf jeden Fall auch so ein bisschen das, was ich als Jugendlicher gerne gemacht habe, nämlich meinen Horizont zu erweitern, auch als Erwachsener nochmal nachts oder nochmal zu wiederholen, weil ich habe das Gefühl, ich habe in den letzten Jahren auch einfach arg nachgelassen, auch wenn es ein bisschen hochgestochen klingt, so ein bisschen das Intellektuelle habe ich bei irgendeiner Strecke gelassen. Deswegen versuche ich so ein bisschen, mich wieder an die Weltliteratur an sich auch wieder zu wagen. Die göttliche Komödie ist tatsächlich sehr, sehr gut. Ja, von Dante Alighieri. Ich habe tatsächlich die Chance gehabt, die göttliche Komödie zu lesen. Die Chance hatte ich, aber ich habe sie nicht genutzt, weil ich dachte, ich hätte dafür alle Zeit der Welt. Nein, danke, Kiran. Also die Geisha gehe ich noch mit, aber das Parfüm den Film fand ich scheiße. Den Film habe ich gesehen, das Parfüm. Den Film fand ich einfach mega scheiße. Also, den habe ich damals in der Berufsschule gesehen. Das war irgendwie kurz vom Ende ich glaube, ich weiß nicht, ob ich da im letzten Ausbildungsjahr war, ich weiß es nicht mehr. Und dann haben wir auf jeden Fall in der Berufsschule einmal gedacht, ey komm, ist kurz vom Ende, wir schauen noch mal irgendwie einen Film. Und da hat dann irgendjemand das Parfüm ausgesucht. Es gab ja nicht mal irgendwie eine Wahl oder sowas, sondern es hieß, ja, wir gucken jetzt einen Film, das Parfüm. Und das war nicht mal eine Wahl des Lehrers gewesen, sondern eine Wahl der Schüler. Und ich habe davon nichts gewusst. Ich saß da vor vollendeten Tatsachen. Und wir haben den Film von Anfang bis zum Ende geguckt und ich fand ihn einfach scheiße. Tut mir leid, wenn ich das so sage. Also für alle, die diesen Film mögen, ich habe das Buch auch nicht gelesen. Ich weiß, es gibt eine Serie inzwischen darüber. Das Buch ist ja noch heftiger sein als der Film. Mir egal, ich mochte den Film einfach nicht. Burlesque ist doch mit Cher und Christina Aguilera, glaube ich, oder? Die Geisha ist noch okay, also damit kann ich auch noch klar gehen. Dass du niemals eine Burlesque-Tänzerin wirst, oder was hat der Film dich
Here
gelehrt?
we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Das glaube ich aber mal nicht.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Das hört sich auf jeden Fall sehr inspirierend an, Kiran.
Sorry,
heißt
I
nicht
should have
Jim.
clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name
klar.
that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Dann möchte jemand Jim
I
Halpert
want
sein
you to
und mit
imagine
Pam,
yourself living as Jim,
mit Pam
sleeping
Beasley
and
was
waking
anfangen.
as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Ich fand Jim schon immer ziemlich cool.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it
Mann, er
again.
war der coolste. Ja, normal drücken.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Aber ja, sehr gerne, Rini. Wenn
I
Zeit
suppose I could
besteht,
allow
würde ich
only
tatsächlich
people
gerne
named
mal
Jim to play the
Stolz
Stanley
und
Parable
Vorurteil
2.
lesen.
That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Dann haben wir einen Jump Circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Eine Free Trophy. Ja, ja, da gehe ich auch gleich hin. Mhm. Krass. Aber sehr schön. Aber freut mich, dass du einen Film gefunden hast, Kiran, der dir so, der dich inspiriert hat, der dir... Oh, was ist denn hier?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Gibt's hier noch mehr?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
No screenshot.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Schade, hätte mich über eine Gratis-Trophäe gefreut.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Ja, darüber freut man sich sehr.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Merch. Reassurance Bucket. Was für ein... Ich meine, gut, so ein Schild oder sowas kann ich noch verstehen, aber was soll das für... Also, New Content. Ja gut, okay, ihr habt mich, ich kauf das. Das ist diese Namensgeschichte. Ja, ja, er sagt Jim. Darüber freue ich mich auch jedes Mal aufs Neueste. Genau. Das ist der Epilog. The baby is all grown up. A whole new office. Red is the new orange. The new updated. Ray traced more of the same, but in a good way. Sequel to the... Yeah. New features, new content, new ideas. Genau, dann geht es immer hoch zum Ausgang. Ich wollte immer da hoch. Na, da hinten machen wir, da komme ich noch nicht. More hole, hole, depth, space, science, falling. Ja gut.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
man slidet ja schon fast rein. Okay, ich versuch's mal.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again?
Yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing.
Du warst doch angetan von dieser Idee.
There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom.
Guter Song.
Yes, I know. I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem.
Ja. Jeder Pause-Button ist
Things got a little heated
römisch
there. I
2.
think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Ganz viele Kippen hier gezündet. Ja, mehr ist ja hier nicht, ne? Ist nur das Meeting um 2. Ja, und hier.
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal.
Ich mag
Normal
Löcher.
person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Noch kürzer.
I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite.
Ja, es wird immer
I
kürzer.
suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity.
Ich könnte mich einfach abstürzen und hier rausgehen, das Spiel lässt mich ja nicht. Okay. Es geht wieder runter. Dr. Pepper ist okay. Ich habe früher sehr gerne Dr. Pepper getrunken, mittlerweile nicht mehr. Aus Gründen. Aber ich finde es jetzt okay. Okay. Der hat was, das ist richtig fancy. Ich bin super, Kiran. Die Hündchen wieder.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't
Ich fand's
understand,
super.
because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Ist wieder runter?
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Ich will auf jeden Fall den Beruhigungseimer einmal holen.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ja. Nette Idee, aber ich behalte den Eimer jetzt einfach.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Okay, da hinten waren wir. Ja, mostly infinite hole. Fine, it ended, ja. Gehen wir mal zum Ausgang da hoch. Mit meinem Eimer.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Ja.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original.
Naja.
Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Ja, okay. Also die haben sich echt was Gutes dabei einfallen lassen, die Entwickler. Also die haben echt geilen Humor bewiesen.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room.
Überall Ballons, genau.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Der war an einmal. Der war einmal an. Das fand ich so bizarr.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Das ist der Eimer? Wo ist denn der Eimer? Ach, da ist der Eimer.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Mein Eimerchen.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Ah!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
6 gibt es insgesamt, okay. Ah, ich muss einfach mal die Monitore im Blick behalten. Vielleicht kommt da in Zukunft ja noch mehr. Aber jetzt ist es hier auf jeden Fall, der Balken wird länger. Aber zweimal muss ich noch finden.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Der Eimer führt mich.
This is certainly the most logical explanation. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for
3
these things.
von
What
6.
about mini-stands?
Ja,
Stanley
passt.
figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that.
Stanlerines?
Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Ich weiß da nicht.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him,
Ich werde mir
reassuring
morgen auch
that in
erstmal
this
einen Eimer
darkest
besorgen,
moment of
damit ich die ganze Zeit
uncertainty,
beruhigt.
he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Ich mache auch gleich Schluss.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Gleich weiter. Genau, Kiran, schön, dass du noch da bist. Aber diesmal mit Eimer. Kiran, diesmal mit Eimer.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Also, das war heute eine sehr interessante Erfahrung. Also ich stehe ja wirklich auf solche Art von Spielen und diesen Meta-Humor, diesen vierte Wand durchbrechenden Humor. Das ist total meins. Ich habe vor 3 Jahren, das kann man sich auch auf meinem YouTube-Kanal auch anschauen, habe ich mit gewissen qualitativen Tonschwierigkeiten, weil das Spiel lauter war als meine Stimme und ich die Einstellung nicht ändern konnte daran. Nichtsdestotrotz Jazzpunk, auch sehr gutes Spiel. Hier kann man jetzt meinen YouTube-Kanal angucken, habe ich auch gestreamt und auch durchgespielt. Auch ein super geiler Humor, Meta, vierte Wand durchbrechend. Ich stehe einfach auf so eine Art von Humor und auch solche Art von Spielen, die mich als Spieler direkt ansprechen. Also ich werde es definitiv nächste Woche Dienstag weiterspielen, weil ich wissen möchte, wie geht's weiter. Was kommt noch mehr an wahnwitzigen Ereignissen und Geschichten? Kiran, Maurice und Rini, danke, dass ihr heute dabei gewesen seid. Donnerstag geht's weiter mit Dragon Age The Veilguard. Nicht weniger gut. Mir gefällt es auch sehr gut, das Spiel. Darauf freue ich mich auch tierisch. Oh, Entschuldigung. Und das Spiel wird natürlich Samstag auf meinem YouTube-Kanal hochgeladen werden. Nicht zu so einer unchristlichen Zeit um 22 Uhr wie Doki Doki Literature Club. Aber da musste ich halt auch eine Ausnahme machen aufgrund des Inhalts des Spiels, was ich auch erst ab 18 freigegeben habe, das Video. Und dann wollte ich, dass es erst so spät veröffentlicht wird. Nee, ich guck mal, wann ich Stanley Parable 2 veröffentlichen lasse am Samstag. Aber es wird keine so späte Zeit werden. Nichtsdestotrotz, wie gesagt, ich bedanke mich bei allen, die dabei waren. Ich freue mich immer über eure Gesellschaft und hoffe, dass ihr nächstes Mal auch wieder mit dabei seid. In diesem Sinne, euch noch einen schönen Abend. Vielleicht bis Donnerstag und ansonsten hoffentlich bis spätestens nächste Woche Dienstag. Bye, bye.